Hello, hello. Welcome to the chat. Just doing a little bit of a campfire this evening, right at dusk time. Wait for a few people to get in here. Just enjoy the fire. A little bit of a breeze right now. Hopefully it didn't kick up too much. See, we have somebody joining in. Say hello. Let me know you're here. This is just kind of a checkup for the week, I guess. Been back to work for a little while now. Hello, Clint. Good to see you. How's your weather down there? Hope everybody can hear me. Hello, P&J. Thanks for letting me know on the audio there. Just a little bit of a fire and catching up on things. Hey, cut the cord. Good to see you guys. Yeah, it's kind of like summer. It's been 78 degrees today. But as soon as this sun goes down, the temperatures will probably drop quite a bit. Hello, Michelle. Good to see you. Glad to have you. Everybody's saying hello back and forth. That's good to see. Life is a highway. John, good to have you here. No, hopefully the roof does not catch on fire. That would not be good, John. Quite a bit of rain, East Texas. Hello, Chris. Good to see you. P&J's dropping links. You guys that's on here, check out each other's channels. Really helps us smaller YouTubers connect with people and grow. Some of my videos have been getting quite a few views, but I think YouTube changed their algorithm a little bit, so as long as somebody clicks on it, it counts as a view now instead of having to be on there for so long. But I'll take it if that helps grow the channel. I don't know if you can hear the birds in the background. Got quite a few mourning doves in the area. Low hunting and stuff. It's been a while since I've done a live. I'm a little bit out of practice. Low cordless, fuzzy adventures and more. Good to see you guys. So I don't know if anybody saw that I was on vacation. Uh, Went to see my younger daughter graduate college. She's a culinary arts graduate, I guess you would say now. So she's there in Rhode Island, becoming an East Coast gal. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, John, I'm not that far from that park. I'm only a couple miles. This is here at my house. So, yeah, hunting and stuff. This is like the seventh one I've done. The very first one I never made public. If you go back in my archives and look at playlist, there's um, 5 other ones. So the number's a little bit off from what you see because I never made the test run public. So this is the number 7 as it's labeled. So stuff's changing for you there, John. Maybe going right through in August. I see. Good to see you, Dottie. Thanks for joining in. There's the other John, the John in Alaska. And no, I am not John. Yeah, I'm glad you I caught me. I don't make these, I don't publish them or pre-publish them or announce them or anything like that. So for now, I'm just doing it as I feel up to it or have the time. Yeah, Clint, I noticed some mosquitoes the other day here too. So hopefully it's not a bad year for them. But we had a nice cold winter, so hopefully that'll keep them at bay. Yak and Bet. Nice to have you. I don't recognize the name. So I'd like to continue some of the format that I have with the wildlife and nature things. Sometimes I can get quite a bit of material in a short amount of time, but other times it seems kind of repetitive and redundant. So I know some people are interested in the craft type things that I do, but recovering from surgery and stuff, I'm just not really in the mindset yet to be doing that. So we'll see. I need to get back into it though, big time, because I've really not done anything since December. Yak and Vet, yeah, I'm glad to have you aboard. I hope you like what you see. Thanks, B&J. Yeah, Dottie, I was looking for something a little bit different. I like the fire. It's nice and relaxing. I'm watching the screen more than I am the fire, though, to be honest. And the sun's going down, so can't really get a view of that right now where I'm sitting. But you'll probably notice the light values changing here as we go on. I'll just put it out to you guys. There's something that you'd like to see on the channel that you're not seeing, uh, anything like that. Longer, I know I do mostly shorts. The videos, it takes me a little bit more to string them together. I'm doing better at it, I think. But I don't seem to get all that many views on my long content, so. No marshmallows for the fire. That's not really my thing. Too sweet for me. Never really been into candy and excessively sweet things. Life is a highway, yeah. I hope to be feeling better. It's a process, though. I heard it can take up to a year and you still have a lot of stiff and soreness with it. So, but it's a lot better than the alternative. So Well, speaking of things we'd like to see, and how about your face? Yeah, I'm not there yet. If you do check one of my posts, you do get a Wilson shot in that post from Rhode Island when I was in the nature park and conservancy there. P&J, yeah, my daughter, she used to make, she was so addicted to s'mores, she used to make them in the microwave. So, life is a highway. I don't know about that one. I don't know how many guests you'd have flowing through with a name like that. P&J, yeah, you saw a glimpse of Wilson there. Took 3 or 4 shots to get what I was after. My daughter wasn't quite up to par on. I had to actually explain to her what Tool Time was and Mr. Wilson. She was young enough she'd never seen the show, so. Fuzzy Adventures, yeah, I was kind of concerned about it. A little bit windier earlier, and it seems to be dying down. So hopefully it stays at bay. Thanks for dropping the link and the posts and the other people's channels there, P&J. I appreciate that. Hey, Dusty Bottom. How are you, Dusty? Good to see you. We need to see some more content from you. I know you're busy working, though, so I know how difficult it can be. Yeah, in the trough. Yeah, he does a lot of lives. Man, I don't know how he has the time to do that. He gets a lot done, though. So that's another good channel. Richmond, Indiana. Yep, that's just a little bit south of me, a couple hours. Getting ready to head into work. Kind of late. I worked second shift for 15 years, and I'm so glad to be off that shift. Now I just need to be done working entirely. Hello, Pure Alaska. Glad to have you along. Yeah, like I was saying, I'm just ready to be done with work. My job is very physically demanding, so I'll have 31 years at the end of this month in the same building, pretty much doing the same job. I was a machine operator for about 2.5 or 3 years, and then I got into maintenance. Yeah, Clint, I understand that. I was off for 6 months because of that surgery. I had to wait 2 months before I got into surgery, and then it was 4 months worth of recovery. A lot of jobs you could go back sooner, but because how physical my job is, they wouldn't allow me to go back any sooner than that. So I had a lot of days and I really couldn't do a lot. I mean, they didn't want me going up and down stairs. I drove way sooner than I should have. But they were surprised that when I went back for my first checkup that I told them I was walking a couple miles every day. But it was hard to be in the house and not be able to do anything else. So I really understand that, Clint. When you don't have your mobility and things like that, it makes it really hard to be able to do the things you want to. But craft stuff can really help with that. But for me, sitting and holding my neck a certain way, it was pretty hard. Yeah, John in Alaska, thanks for that. Appreciate that. Don't forget the thumbs up. It really helps the channel out. Chat's going by pretty quick on this little screen. Well, the other John, life is a highway. Thanks for stopping in. I really appreciate it. Take care. And let me know how things are going. Keep up the good content. He's got a really good channel. He goes through different towns in Alaska and gives you some of the history and things on them. So it's a really good channel. And he's got a lot of humor in it too. So John in Alaska, yeah. Retirement can be a great thing if you're well adjusted to it. Some people are better off staying working because they don't know how to adapt. Pure Alaska, I had reconstructive neck surgery. So there were two vertebrae that didn't have any cartilage anymore, and there was another one that was on its way out. So it was really hard for me to ride around in a vehicle or anything like that. Any little bump, it's basically like walking around with a broken neck. I had bone spurs because I was bone on bone. I was digging into my spinal column. I had 3 pinched nerves. So I was kind of a mess. Yeah, Clint, I understand that. The income is not the same either. They were ready to put me on full-term disability, and I wasn't ready for that. So going back's not easy, but since I still can, I'm going to as long as I can. And the other thing is I need another surgery yet. So, which that's a shoulder surgery. I've got a torn tendon and another partially torn one, and then I've got thinning of the socket. So we'll see where that goes, but I need to be back to work for a while. Kind of get things built back up at work. I missed somebody. JS Genesis Designs. Hey, I'm glad to have you here. Tundra in Time. Hey, Lynn, good to see you. Yeah, thanks for dropping the links again. You guys make sure you check everybody out that's being dropped in here. So because of my surgery, I'm really far behind on things, taking care of the yard, stuff like that. Yak and vet, yeah. If you don't have the right things in your life, it can be pretty boring. Uh, Hobbies are a big thing, especially if you can make a little money from them. So if you don't have a hobby, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube. If you don't have a YouTube channel, maybe that's something for you, because you can eat up a lot of time editing videos and sharing your world with the rest of the world. So yeah, the Alaska YouTube community is great for finding other channels. And like me, Pure Alaska brought it up. I'm not in Alaska yet. So currently I'm in Indiana. It's where I was born and raised. But I've had a passion for Alaska. If you read my description at the heading of my channel or whatever, a lot of people miss that. But my passion's always been Alaska. I read Jack London. He was a prolific writer. A lot of it was up in the Arctic and things like that. So when I was about 8 years old, I really got enamored with Alaska and remote life and things like that. Plus my lifestyle, when it affords it and I have the time to get out and be in nature. So Alaska's a good fit. I went up in April. I stayed with Cut the Cord, and I stayed with oh Curmudgeon. So yeah, those are some great people. So I didn't have a lot of time. I was just kind of getting my feet wet in Alaska. I had an idea what I wanted to do and see. So uh, I think Talkeetna is going to be the right fit because I do the craft and leather type things, and with the tourist industry there, I think that'll be a good fit for me. So discovering the last frontier is my cousin and Homer. All right, I'll have to check that out. Pure Alaska, what part of Indiana were you from? Yeah, Jack London. He's a prolific writer, man. It's crazy how much stuff that he wrote. Short stories, and you can find a lot of them on YouTube, and you can just listen along to them. You don't even have to read it. It's all out there. So, Minnesota, yeah, there's a lot of Midwestern people that end up in Alaska. It seems like we can get some of the weather, which is ironic. Sometimes we're colder than what they are in parts of Alaska. So doesn't usually stick around Greenwood. Yeah, I caught that before you deleted it. That's about all I saw of it. But Greenfield, okay, west side of Indy. Yep. So Indy's about 2 hours for me. I'm in the northern part of the state. Uh, I'm closer to Fort Wayne, so uh, well enough away from Fort Wayne. Could never live there, but I'm in a rural setting. So, but I travel all over Indiana when I get the chance. I go to southern Indiana twice a year. So sometimes you'll see me do stuff from a place called Friendship, Indiana, because I do some living history stuff. And I stay in a little slab board cabin for a week to 10 days when I'm there. So yeah, we got a few people getting ready to meet up here, it looks like. So Pure Alaska, how long you been in Alaska? People might not understand why I'm still here. And having a YouTube channel with the name, it gets confusing for people. I think some people end up dropping out because they think that uh, they're watching stuff from Alaska, and that's not my intent to make people. Um, but it helps motivate me to get there. I uh, I still have another dependent child here, so I got another year before he graduates high school, and that will free me up a little bit. So, 200-acre property in the southern part of Brown County. Brown County's awesome too. So, a lot of people from Indiana, when I tell them I'm going to go to Alaska, they're like, "What are you going to do there?" And I say, "Well, you ever been to Brown County?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, it's similar vibe there, all the little shops and stuff." So, I kind of use that as a comparison for people. Talked about the neck, February, lost consciousness, fell. First time in my life. Same thing. Yeah, that whole neck thing, people don't realize. So like, my hands were going numb, and then they started getting cold. Uh, the numbness started way before, but it was on again, off again, and then it became more persistent. Um, the by the time I got to surgery, I rapidly declined. It really took a toll on me fast. So my feet got severely cold. Uh, Alaska Wild Serenity, good to have you here. But the my feet were so cold because they had to do a pre-operation test. You know, make sure all your vitals were good and your blood work. Um, but they couldn't believe how cold my feet were. And then they went to do a blood draw, which I'm not a good patient for drawing blood. So I always tell them to take it out of my hands because it's easier on them and easier on me. Well, they couldn't even, my hands were so cold they couldn't even find veins in my hands. So they had to warm them up with heating pads and wrap them in a blanket. So it got pretty bad pretty fast. So I hope they get it figured out for you, JS. Yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Alaska Wild Serenity, he's got a new channel. He's building subscribers pretty quick, though. Go over there and check him out. Pure Alaska, Talkeetna, yeah. Small Nashville in Brown County. That's exactly the same vibe I got from it. So I think it'll be a good fit. Game Kid 75. Hello there. Good to have you. Yeah, appreciate the subscription. Gone through a lot. Yeah, Lynn, it's a process. I'm not done yet. I'm ready to be done. As a friend of mine says, he said, you're a walking train wreck. So I've had a few other things that didn't pan out to be much, but kind of worrying there for a while. So taking a lot of bumps and bruises along the way. Yeah, that heart attack and widowmaker thing, my dad had that. That's a scary thing. It's a long recovery too. He's had a series of heart attacks over 30 years, so he's still kicking. He has plenty of issues, but Clint, yeah, it can be a scary thing, that surgery. But man, if it gives you anything back, I can't imagine where I'd be right now if I hadn't had the surgery. Uh, like I say, it's still no bed of roses right now, but it I can't imagine how bad off I would have been. Sorry for moving the camera around here. I'm trying to scroll through these texts. You guys are really showing me some love here. Yeah, I'd love to get up there, Dusty. Can't come soon enough for me. Glad you're liking it. Alaska Wild Serenity. Yeah, this is evening time for me. There's a 4-hour time difference, so. Pure Alaska. I've never turkey hunted. I've deer hunted quite a bit since I was 12 years old. And I've taken them with all different types of things. Up here where I'm at, they allow high power rifle, but it's just too flat, too many houses. So I stay away from that, but muzzleloader, bow, crossbow, shotgun, all that stuff. But I like traditional archery, so might get into more of that. I do have a short that shows an arrow quiver that I made, chock full of arrows. Some of them I made, some of them I purchased, but I'm really into archery. But I haven't shot in a long time because of my shoulder. So yeah, Clint, that's a great saying right there. We got to take care of ourselves, that's for sure. Pure Alaska. Yeah, I saw that. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. There's so much good content out there. It's really hard to see everybody's stuff. I try to watch a little bit of this and a little bit of that and try and spread it out. Now that I'm back to work, I can't watch near the stuff that I used to. But I was car coming by. Sorry about that. But yeah, I consumed a lot of YouTube while I was off because I haven't had a TV in I don't know how many years. So, and I don't have Wi-Fi or anything like that. Everything I do is off my phone. So, yeah, Dusty, when you work all the time, it does make it hard. Michelle, yeah, if you're into archery, I'm sure, I don't know, for older adults, if there's clubs around or anything like that. Back in the day, everybody used to have an outdoor club. I forget what they called them. Um, but yeah, I mean, just go to the local hunting store or someplace where they sell archery, and they ought to be able to direct you to the right place, the right people. Um, it takes a lot of concentration. I've been doing it my whole life, so um, people look at what I do and they're like, "How do your stance is so much better than?" And it's like, well, that's the way I grew up. I mean, I probably since I was 6 years old, I've had a bow in my hand. So yeah, Clint, there's a lot of good stuff out there. Yeah, John, TV's kind of overrated. So I'm perfectly happy with my phone. I'm getting behind again here. Yeah, practice is key. There's a lot of people, even if you just shoot 5 or 10 arrows a day, especially if you want clean, ethical hunting, that's really key. Yeah, Michelle, I've made some kids' bows. Uh, there's a lot of great books and information out there on making bows. Uh, and that's something that you might get into. A lot of people start out shooting archery and then they end up making bows. Thanks for stopping by, Dusty. I really appreciate it. Yeah, Michelle, that's another thing. When I was a kid, they had 4-H clubs. So we had like BB gun and rifle, and they had archery. And so if you have a, uh, a 4-H association in your area, a lot of times they can, if they, especially if they have an archery club, they might be able to link you up with somebody. Maybe they don't offer it to an adult, but they know people that are in that world. So it's about networking and finding like-minded people. So, and there's a really great place that's close to me. It's called Three Rivers Archery, and it's a archery outlet. They sell bows and everything to make stuff with. Um, but there's places all over the United States that are into archery. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Dusty. Never shot a bow. Well, first thing is you want to get an arm guard because string slap is real. Yeah, Boy Scouts is another good one. And youth centers. Yeah, I'm not sure about other states and programs that they have, but definitely 4-H and the Boy Scouts. they might be able to put you in contact with somebody. But uh, just look up archery in your area. And Google Maps will take you to the closest place, and then short drive, you can head over there. They ought to put you in contact with somebody. Yeah, 4-H is a great program. I did all kinds of stuff. So I had rabbits. I had 84 rabbits at one time. I had chinchillas and mini lops. So I raised them for show, some with pedigree, some without pedigree. I raised them as pets. I raised them for meat rabbits. Lots of options there. And then I did model rocketry. So I went to state with the rabbits and with the model rockets, and then I did shooting sports as well. So those were my main avenues, but they offer so many programs. Yeah, Clint. When I was a kid, we used to pull into school with a gun in our back window. Nobody thought anything about it. It's a very different world. And when I was a kid, the little town that I grew up in, actually the camera's pointing pretty much in the direction of where I grew up from, not very far from here. But I used to ride around town on a bicycle with a gun on my back. And nobody thought anything about it. Yeah, ROTC, that's a good program. There's also, I think it's called a Presidential Marksmanship Club, if I'm not mistaken. Those guys are very serious. It takes a lot to qualify for that. Michelle, yeah, it takes a lot of concentration. I shoot instinctively, so I don't use any sights of any kind. A lot of people use pin sights, or they use laser sights, or they use peep sights, or the combination of, and they use releases, and I hunt with and shoot with a stick and a string, basically. I'm about as basic as you can get. A lot of times I don't do a lot of aiming. I just envision where I want the arrow to go, pull up and release, and but I've been, like I said, I've been way out of practice because with my shoulder and my neck being messed up, I haven't picked up a bow for a couple years now. Yeah, Wild Serenity. Yeah, it's one of those things. Sometimes life happens and it's hard to make time for things, or other things take priority. Um, but I think as you get the time, you get back into how you grew up, and it's really hard when you can't do what you used to do. So just being out there and being in nature, that's a big thing. A lot of times it's not about the hunting or the fishing. You may not catch anything, but being on the water or being in the woods is what it's about. Be one with the arrow. Yeah, especially when you make them from scratch. And I play around with flint knapping too, so I know how to make arrowheads. I'm not as great as some people, but I do know the principles behind it. Getting the material, that's the hard thing, and having the time. When you have so many interests, it's really hard to find the time to do everything. Michelle, that's funny. Yeah, everybody said the same thing about me going up there and not coming back. My ex-wife, I she knew right away. She's like, I'm surprised you came back. It's like, well, I couldn't do that to my son, so I've got a lot of things to close out here, but hopefully when I get stuff around, I can head up that way. Been looking for property at the moment, so peace and quiet. Yep, time to reflect on things and kind of get your head screwed back on straight. Yeah, wild serenity. I agree. Sometimes you just gotta shed all the burdens off and get out where it's quiet, not have the distractions. Yeah, Lynn, totally agree. Way too loud. And the environment that I work in, excuse me, my kids, they never understood it. Certain things would just kind of set me off, trigger me, certain toys, video games, stuff like that. But I worked in a high volume machining industry, setting, and just the constant noise. So to be somewhere where it's quiet, uh, that's about the best thing for me is getting away from noise. And as a little kid, my mom used to say she couldn't find me. I'd go off and crawl underneath the bed or underneath the sofa or something like that just to get away from everybody. So I've always kind of been that way. P&J, the mishap. Oh, well, on my flights, I guess you're saying in the hotel. Uh, so every flight that I had, so I flew from Indiana to Chicago. Um, that flight got delayed on the runway. I got to Chicago, that flight got delayed, and they said, "Oh, you should be good for your connecting flight." And then I got delayed on the runway again, so I couldn't fly into Rhode Island. So I ended up flying into Boston and got a split family household situation here. So my daughter's brother was on the same flight, him and his wife. So they rented a car, and so I rode with them from Boston to Rhode Island then. So that was just getting there. And then after a day and a half of being at the hotel, they lost hot water. So they ended up kicking 50% back to me for the remaining 2 nights because it happened over the weekend. They couldn't get anybody in there to fix it. If I would have had tools, I probably could have done something about it, but they didn't offer, and I was on vacation. So I had the same issues on the way back with the flights. So it was kind of the same deal. And some stuff didn't work out with my daughter and some plans that she had made for restaurant reservations and stuff like that. But there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, you just got to make the best of it. So it didn't bum me out or anything like that. Um, Attitude goes a long way. Chris, you were in Alaska in 2023. Yeah, it's hard going back. Very beautiful. And if you're into that kind of lifestyle, it's hard to walk away from. Yeah, John, I don't have a lot of traffic here. I live on a gravel half-mile road, so it's not even that most people go through. Most of our sectors here are a mile square, roughly. But they've been doing some road construction close to me. They're putting in they're rerouting the highway. So a lot of the other roads are closed off right now. So we're getting a little bit more traffic than we normally do. But that's just another reason why I want to get out of here. Stuff's getting too close to me. Yeah, glad to see the moose back at John's place. Yeah, I'm not a fan of traffic. People don't know how to drive anymore either. Yeah, stuff happens, but we had a great time. We went to the beach. So, some of you know I don't do enough of it, but I do a lot of arts and crafts stuff, like I said. And I've been wanting to get some quahog shell, which is wampum. So it's purple and white. And I told my daughter if she goes to the beach, look for it. Well, she didn't know what she was looking for. Um, but when we went to the beach, we actually found some. So I'd like to, I do a lot of jewelry and stuff like that too. So I'd like to work a little bit of that wampum. Now that she knows what she's looking for, hopefully she can send me some. 3 houses behind a McDonald's. Ugh. Always traffic. Yeah, especially if they're open 24 hours. Pure Alaska. Yeah, thanks for coming back. Appreciate that. Chris, you're looking to move up there. Yeah, do your research. It's a big place. Like I say, Talkeetna just has the right fit for me. Um, it's a small town. It's about like what I grew up with, which in the summertime that doesn't really count because there's way too many tourists. But I'm looking for the tourists to put food in my belly too, so that's not a bad thing. I'm gonna kick this fire around a little bit, so if I'm not here at the screen, you'll know why. I don't know if you can hear me or not. I'm still here. I'm gonna throw a few more logs on there. I like that it's dark. You can't see me. It might take a minute for it to kick back up. You can still hear me, all right. Well, that fire is going to be dying down just a little bit, but a few minutes it'll kick back up. Really glad everybody joined in tonight. Like I say, I don't schedule these. I just do them spur of the moment. I'm really glad to see all these channels coming in, people that I know. And for those of you that are new, I'm glad to have you. Hope you stick around and keep coming back. The temperature, I'm not exactly sure what it is now. When I started the live, it was about 78 degrees, and that was a little over 45 minutes ago. So it's probably high 60s, low 70 maybe. The low, the warmest it would be 70 right now. AK Dog Mom, hey, good to have you. Got some joking going on between John and Lynn. 1791 garage. Yeah, that's all right. I'm still glad to have you here. If you haven't, make sure you guys hit the thumbs up. Just a friendly reminder, it helps me out a lot. There are the flames kicking back up a little bit. Thanks for dropping the link, P&J. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'd probably have some more viewership if I made them public, but I'm just not really into a lot of people. I know like John, he gets a lot of people in there. I moderate for a lot of people. So if you don't know, I moderate for a lot of channels. It can be kind of overwhelming at times for everybody involved. I like doing it and I like helping people out, but I don't really know that I want to take on all that as a content creator yet. So well, I appreciate that, Rob. Wild Serenity. Yeah, I it's a community. It's all about helping each other out, and made a lot of great contacts. Like I say, when I was up a year ago in April, I just didn't have the time to see everybody. If I had to do it over again, I might just, not that I'm full of myself or anything like that, but just to meet people, like set up a location and say, hey, what's a good time for everybody? Can we all get together? Kind of like a YouTube meetup, but Not that I'm that special, but when you got so many people that you're connected to, it's really hard. And I was going up there for research purposes, because I just want to make sure I can um, make a go of it when I get up there. So I had a lot of stuff that I needed to do for me, to find the right fit and the right location to be able to sell stuff. I got a lot of good information. And I went up there the time of year that I did because it was the off season. I didn't have to deal with tourists. So when you're looking at marketing and, where do I need to go? Who do I need to talk to? And I got a lot of good help, but they had time to do it because they weren't dealing with customers. So I'm doing good, gamer kid. Well, I appreciate that, Matt. Yeah, we all have, we're all a little bit different. We all do our own thing. Little boot knife, good to have you along. Thanks for saying hi. Yeah, John, I I feel for you. I really do. Um, it's not anything that I want. Um, I like stuff to grow natural. I don't care if I get to 1,000 subscribers, I get monetized, all that. That's not what I'm here for. Honestly, the only reason why I'm here is because you guys encouraged me to do it and kind of wouldn't let it stop. So I'm here because of you guys. So, yeah, Wild Serenity. I don't know if you're aware, but they do an Alaskan YouTube meetup. I think they hold it in Wasilla. Since I'm not there, I don't know all the details of it. I think it's in June, but they take a day. It's like on a Saturday, and it may be 2 days. I think you're familiar with Bill over at My Alaska. You probably get up with him because I think he helps coordinate some of that. And that would be good. That'd help grow your channel and help, meet people face to face. So, but I know everybody's got different schedules. Some people are remote or have to travel a long way. Because I know people from all over the state, and I know a lot of people that aren't even on YouTube, that are living in Alaska. People I went to school with. I know a guy in Soldotna. I know a gal in Fairbanks, and I know a guy on Adak. Those are people that I've personally met and kind of know their background and stuff on. So Bill's not in Alaska right now. Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen him posting anything or responding to people, so that makes sense. But yeah, Wild Serenity, you'll have to check into that a little bit more. I wish I had more information for you, but that might help you out. Yeah, Lynn, that quiet time, it's nice to have, whether it's in the house or at work or wherever it's at. Get too hectic. No, don't worry about it, Lynn. I know how it goes posting stuff up there, and in the industry we call it fat finger when you do something, hit a button too many times or whatever. So meetup is June 21st, from what Michelle says, and I know a lot of channels post stuff on it. So just be on the lookout for that. Um, I'm pretty sure it's held in Willow. I can't remember the name of the park, but I'm sure if you plugged in Alaskan YouTube meetup into YouTube, you'd probably find a hit somewhere on it. Somebody had posted something. So there you go, Rob. cut the cord, sent you an email. So, yep, finding a lot of support out there for information. I'd like to go. I think Matt AK is supposed to be going up there. He's getting ready to take off. He just posted he's getting his apartment cleared out and getting everything loaded into a storage unit, so he ought to be taking off pretty soon, heading that way. I think he plans on going too. Yeah, that's what I really like about YouTube and the Alaska community. And, you know, I mean, you don't even have to be from Alaska, but just, I guess, have a passion for it. You know, like Michelle, she's got information, but she's not in Alaska, you know. But we all kind of look after each other. You know, AK Dog Mom and Matt's Garage, you know, same thing, you know. They're in the community as well. So, great group of people. So, do you guys like this setting with the campfire and the sunset and all that? It's a little bit different. Yeah, thanks for dropping Adam and Phyllis's link. P&J, if you could drop a Curmudgeon link too, please. I'd appreciate that. Yeah, Matt, it gets in your blood. I mean, like I say, that lifestyle just really suits me. And I think my mom, she'd been up there twice because I had a cousin that used to live in Soldotna. But because of circumstances, he came back last October. So she'd been up there twice for him, and she didn't want me to go at all. At all. She was riding me pretty hard about not going, and, oh, you're going to have this problem. And I had never flown before or traveled by myself. So she didn't want me to go. But because she really knew that once I got there, it was kind of a done deal. Yeah, Alaska Wild Serenity. There's some great people up there. Yeah, network a little bit. And YouTube's a great way to do it. Well, I'm glad you guys like the fire. And John says he's going to go back to Friday night fireside chats. I know bouncing around, walking and stuff, sometimes in the wind. Tonight was just a pretty nice night to do it because I didn't have all the wind. I know the last few lives that I did, it had been pretty windy. That can get distracting and annoying for me as well as you. So, yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with a fire. Like I say, I need to get back into doing some leather work and stuff because I noticed a lot of people have been going back to some of my older stuff and looking at some of that stuff. And you go back and check the algorithm or whatever, your metrics. So I know I've been getting a lot of hits on some of that stuff. But I need to do it too. Get back in practice. I actually have a purse. I need to do that this weekend. I just thought of it. So a lot of people at work will bring me stuff. Baseball gloves, purses, saddlebags, gun holsters, and ask me if I can repair it or modify it. So I've got a purse that I need to get finished. The lady gave it to me right before I went to Rhode Island, and I told her it'd be a little bit. But it's been a week now, so I just need to get that finished up. Yeah, Matt and Dog Mom, it's a hard thing. It can be cost prohibitive. I was off work for 6 months, and I probably could have swung going back to Alaska, but with my daughter graduating in Rhode Island, that was my priority. So, because I don't know how often she'll be coming back here, and once I do go to Alaska, it'd probably be even harder then. Yeah, Rob, Wild Serenity, it's a good thing to get into. Um, there's a lot of good channels on leatherwork. Uh, there's some beginner stuff. There's people trying to make a living from it. You can get as fancy as you want. A lot of people do a lot of tooling and stuff. Um, that's not something that I've gotten into, like the saddle makers and bow makers, and even on holsters, they do a lot of tooling. Um, yeah, you can get dealt a bad deck of cards sometimes. I know how that goes. I was not planning on surgery. I walked in just because I was having some problems, hoping to get some answers or get something figured out, and they're like, "You're done working," because I was basically walking around with a broken neck. Um, so, and it took 2 months to even get into surgery. So I wasn't planning on any of that. I'm just glad that I don't have any real bills. I do have some stuff that you know everybody has, but I don't have the excessive stuff. So I don't have car payments or anything like that. House is paid for, but it eats into your other plans. So my Alaska money took a kind of a hit. Yeah, Wild Serenity. There's lots of stuff on YouTube as far as making stuff. Um, Wish I could remember the names off the top of my head. I don't watch that stuff as much. When I was off work, I watched a lot of it because I just had so much time. Um, and I do everything by hand. Most people have some kind of machines. They have die cutters for cutting out patterns, but I cut everything by hand. Punching holes. I do everything by hand. I don't have a sewing. I have sewing machines, but I don't use them. Um, I guess it depends on what I'm doing. Yeah, it takes practice, that's for sure. I, but I started a long time ago too. I found my passions early in life, so that's that's kind of been a blessing. I fell in love with shooting sports and the outdoors, but that's the way I grew up. I was exposed to that stuff, and then the leather work that came early too. I was about 12 when I got into all that, so I've been doing it a long, long time. I'm not as good as some, but some people do it more than me. I have a lot of interest. I like blacksmithing and jewelry work and woodwork and carving stone and bone and wood, and I have too many interests. How to tan and process hides. Yeah, there are lots of different ways of doing it. Um, I'm a fan of pickling method more than the tanning process, but there is a bark tan method that I would really like to try. Um, but again, it's all about having the time to do it. Hey, Ozzy's in here. Good to see you, Ozzy. Yeah, Wild Serenity. Yeah, it's about the handcrafted. You touch every stitch and every inch of the piece that you're working on. So yeah, I think when people understand that it's all handmade and not done on a machine or mass produced, I can make the same pieces over and over again, but they're all going to be unique, and some of that even comes from the hide itself. I can't make two pieces identical. I mean, they can be pretty close and they can function the way they're supposed to, but that's what I like about leather. It just has its own unique, the scars and the way it takes dyes and things like that. I understand, Aussie, but I am so glad that you came in. You had the time. I appreciate that. I really do. Yeah, stuff is expensive. Um, and that's the thing with like leather. Leather can be expensive. It depends on what you want and the type of hide. Whether brain tan is super expensive. Um, the more you can do on your own, the better off you are. Uh, and some of the tools I've made myself. Um, I had the ability to machine some of my own tools and stuff like that. But you can do stuff with some pretty basic things. It doesn't have to be fancy, especially if you're just starting out. Because I mean, if you're not really, you think you're going to be into it, but then you're not. You know, you wasted a lot of money. The hides, I have a huge inventory, but that's every time I go to southern Indiana, there's a place where I can buy, and so I just accumulate leather because I've kind of had this in my head for a long time what I wanted to do to support myself when I do get it to Alaska. So I won't have to worry about leather inventory for quite a while when I get up there. Um, and I've dollar cost averaged, so a lot of the hides and stuff I don't have the expense in them that I would have if I was buying it today. So yeah, I appreciate that, John, for reminding everybody to hit the thumbs up. Yeah, Aussie, it's a little different. You know, it's kind of like a natural living thing. You know, you kind of have to know how it works because it has a grain to it. It'll stretch in one direction but not in another. Um, there's a pucker factor, so the way the hide forms around the animal, when it's tanned, it still kind of has those ruffles in it, working around that kind of stuff. So you have to learn how to adapt and overcome some of those things. It's a great material though. I love it. Yeah, antler. I love working with that too. Um, a neighbor of mine, he used to pick up a lot of sheds and stuff, and he had given me some mule deer and some whitetail. And I haven't worked with any of that stuff in quite a while, but I have a pretty good inventory of that. You just got to watch the dust with a lot of that stuff. Um, I appreciate that, P&J. Yeah, I need to get back into it, but it's summer right now, and I'm, like I said, so far behind on stuff. Dealing with lawnmowers and just stuff that's wore out. A little frustrating. I don't want to spend the money, but I guess I need to. Yeah, Aussie, no two are the same. Yeah, and they have different dye lots and stuff like that. So every hide, you think you're getting a mahogany, but one will be more red and one will be more brown. So, well, John, I appreciate you stopping over. I really do. Glad you were able to catch a live. That's, like I say, that's on me because I don't advertise. So, P&J, yeah, hey, looking forward to that. Another set of earrings coming out of them. Everybody's saying goodnight to John. I know John, I don't know if he's still on here, but I know like Sundays he normally does a live. So I don't know if he's planning on doing one or not. I haven't saw the notification for one yet. I know he'd been taking a little bit of a break. Things been kind of hectic over there. So be on the lookout for that though, in case that he does go live tomorrow. That's he usually does those noon Alaska time. So that's 4 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know what it is, Central or Mountain or any of that. But Well, I've been on here a little over an hour. Um, does anybody have any questions about anything? 20 thumbs up. Yep, I'll take them. I'm only showing 19 on my end, but I'll take every one of them I can get. Yeah, Aussie, I still struggle with that. You'll get a hold of me and I'm like, I have no. That's part of the reason why I don't get a hold of you as much, because I don't want to call you in the middle of the night or send an email or whatever, because I never know what time it is. I guess I need to be a little bit more proactive. I could look it up. Google will tell you everything, right? As much as I hate technology, boy, the answers are right at your fingertips sometimes. That's something that gets me about young people too. Like my daughter, she'll be 21 in November. Well, both my girls' birthday are in November, but the younger one, she'll be 21, and she's like, "Well, how do I don't know." I'm like, "Just Google it." So then if you got a question after that, then you can call me. Some of the stuff's pretty basic. It's funny how these young people don't realize how much they have available to them that we never had growing up. Things have changed a lot. Yeah, Wild Serenity. It seems like it's a necessary evil sometimes. I am not a tech fan at all. I'm way more than I ever wanted to be. Thanks, B&J. I don't know how much sound is being picked up by the camera and what's not. I know what I can hear. A breeze picked up a little bit here. Yeah, see, they don't they don't know hardly anything. Technology, yes. But there are some that are interested in learning. My youngest, my son, he'll be 18 in August, and he's taking welding classes. So there is some hope for the future. I hope he sticks with it, and I hope it's something that he really enjoys, because I know he'll be able to make a good living at that. Yeah, Matt, it has its advantages, but there are some pretty grisly things that come about with technology. I the things that are available and the damage that people do to each other on Facebook and stuff like that. The only thing I do is YouTube. So I don't, which you can find some of that on YouTube as well. So yeah, I thought about doing a somewhat of a cooking video, but since this is kind of a faceless channel and this is the only time you hear me talk, I didn't really want to be in front of the camera. Yeah, the birds have gone to bed. I'll tie it up from this live and I'll probably kick a few out of the trees here. P&J's got a raccoon on the deck. They can make a mess of stuff, that's for sure. Yeah, Clint, it really has. People don't know how to communicate. I guess that's another great thing about the Alaska community. I've met a lot of people, Matt and Cameron in Pennsylvania, Aussies all the way in Australia, Clint's in Texas, you know. So, and then all the people in Alaska. So, I mean, that's what you want to make it. Thanks, Ozzy. I'm glad you stopped in. I hope it calms down. Crazy busy days are no fun. I get it. Yeah, Clint, it is. Thanks for dropping links, P&J. Yeah, and honestly, that's one of the reasons why I don't, get in front of the camera much. Is I know it's a me thing, but I'm not a fan of all the digital facial recognition stuff, and I don't know, identity theft stuff. Technology can be a real nuisance. I mean, it's done a lot of great things for a lot of people, but yeah, wintertime for you. Hey, you guys are all upside down in the wrong season. Right season for you. At least you don't have the heat anymore. Hopefully you'll have some cooler weather. Take care of yourself, Ozzy. Yeah. Yeah, we all got our quirks, that's for sure, Kim. It we're all different. That's what makes it interesting. Opportunity to get away, unplug, and simplify. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Yeah, there's that acronym KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. The people that have to have the latest and greatest phones and all those things and stay in debt, it they don't understand the freedom of not having those kind of bills. They get hooked on it. And then the kids, they get a phone in their hand when they're 3, 4 years old. But it's tough raising kids. I mean, if you're in a single household or both parents work, I understand the draw of keeping your kids occupied, but it's not the best alternative. I'm going to shift the fire here a little bit. I'm going to be away from the screen for a sec. Try not to kick the camera as I'm coming back around. Yeah, Matt. I agree. And I saw something the other day on YouTube about from the time the Wright brothers started flying till we went into space. I think it was only like, I could be wrong, but I was thinking they said it was only like 60 years. And if you think about it, that's not that much time. Stuff evolves fast. Yeah, I was explaining to my daughter about having a wall on the phone. We didn't have a phone everywhere we went. Clint, I'm glad you stopped by. Thanks for the support of the channel. I think you've caught a couple of my lives now. I really appreciate it. Yeah, and look into finding some hobbies or something. Pass the time. Reading's a good thing too. I mean, we all, even in this modern age, I mean, we all get hooked on our screen time. So, going back to books, it's a little bit more accurate and trustworthy sometimes too. So, yeah, blink of an eye. That's for sure. Yeah, long phone cord. Yeah, I remember those days where you had to drag the phone with the cord sticking out into a closet so you could get some privacy. So people, you can't walk out into the yard and talk on the phone back then. You had to sneak off into a closet if you had a friend on the phone. Yeah, Michelle, I've got quite a library. I still buy books. Most of them are secondhand books. A lot of them I haven't even gotten to, but just the information seems like it's lost when it's not in print anymore because it can be changed. Thanks, P&J. Appreciate that. Yeah. Matt, here's a good one for you. And probably some of you may remember party lines. So I lived in a real small community, and it was kind of like a satellite location. So we had what they called a party line. Your phone would ring, wouldn't ring into anybody else's house, but if you picked up the phone, it was a shared line, so they could listen in on your conversation. And we had a neighbor, and you could hear, she'd be as quiet as she could be, but you could still hear that thing click. And boy, then you knew it was on. She was listening to everything you said. We come up with some pretty wild stories just to get her going sometimes. Yeah, tell a kid about a party line now, it'd blow their mind. Yeah, can you imagine using your cell phone and somebody else listening in that you didn't know was there? They'd be like, what? No way. Yeah, radio dedications. I remember those too. Getting bored listening to the neighbors. We had another, so the lady who used to listen in on the phone was right beside us on one side, and then the other lady, she used to look out her kitchen window. And we had a double lot, so it wasn't horrible, but boy, she monitored our house like a hawk. Little tiny towns, boy, you couldn't keep nothing a secret. And the crazy thing was, I moved out of the town, and as a teenager, they still knew what was going on with me and gossip and small towns. But if you ever needed anything, somebody had something that they'd loan you or get you out of a jam, or you run out of gas, they'd come get you. So it's kind of the same thing as technology. It has its drawbacks, but it has its benefits. Yeah, Matt, that's true. I'm gonna shuffle this fire again. There we go. Top 40 countdown, Casey Kasem. Yeah, and just north of me, there's a radio station called Whoa Whoa. And they had some kind of booster. I think it was like 50,000 watts or something. And they were known pretty much all over the country. Because I know in some parts of the United States, like if you're in a mountain region, you only got radio reception certain times of the day. And Whoa Whoa would boost out to a lot of other states. Long distance dedication. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, doing your own cassette mixtapes and then popping the tabs off the top so you couldn't re-record over the top of it and lose it. Yeah, talking over the beginning of the song. I liked it when they'd play like so many minutes uninterrupted with no commercials. You got like 3 or 4 songs right in a row. Mystery Theater. I don't recall that. I know that, wasn't it General Hospital started out as a radio program? There was some stuff that carried over. Yeah, does seem like yesterday. The funny thing is, a lot of people, like I remember stuff that I shouldn't remember. So people are like, how old are you? How do you know that stuff? And it's like, I don't know. It just sticks with me. So like I know who Jimmy Durante is, and then I've got some character names for you, and you tell me who the guy was that did them. Clem Cadiddlehopper, Cauliflower McPug. Anybody know where those come from? Red Skelton. Yep, there you go. Supposedly I'm too young to know who that is, but I do. I think he was the originator of the Ed Sullivan, the precursor to, because I think he came out of vaudeville. Well, I've been on here almost an hour and a half, so I think I'm going to close this out. I appreciate everybody stopping by and saying hello, having a good chat, enjoying the fire. Maybe I'll get up the gumption someday to schedule these. Good night, Michelle. Thanks for joining in. P&J, I appreciate you dropping links. Thanks, Lynn. Appreciate it. Yeah, and Michelle, I was going to mention that earlier. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. So, if your mom's still around, make sure you give a phone call to your mom. Thanks, Matt and Kim. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Good night, Chris. Thanks for sticking with me. Thanks, Rob. Wild Serenity. Appreciate it. All right. With that, I'm going to close this out. Good night, all.